Hey everybody, welcome to Business Over Breakfast. My name is Ben Barber, and that is Lori Jatari from Visual Thrive. Hey Lori.
Hey Ben, good morning. How you doing?
So how is it going today, Lori? What are you up to today?
I am Tuesdays is my day filled with phone calls and video meetings. So I like starting our day
I
with
messed up my speakers again, Lori.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'm gonna sign out, and you tell people what we're talking about to start. I'll be back in 1 second.
All right, cool. So before we started this morning, Ben was having a little sound problem, and this is our world today, right? We get on video and we never know what's going to happen. So here I am moving out of my apartment, and just that's life. And this is the way we roll here. So today, Ben and I were thinking about the best ways to help a business if you have a very small budget or no budget around how to market and how to get your business communications out into the world and expand to some new audiences. So how you doing, Ben? We good on sound?
We are good.
All right.
So basically, yeah. I have a situation where we've been, both of us have been talking to so many different business owners of different levels and people that work for businesses, especially in the last 6 months during the pandemic. But then obviously beforehand too, because that's both of our businesses, is talking to other business owners. Right. So I can't tell you how many times I have heard or seen people who, because they don't have the big marketing budget to do like a lot of ads or campaigns or anything, that feel defeated and don't do anything because of that.
Yeah.
And well, I mean, like you've said many times on the show, so many people, like so many of these businesses in Rhode Island, when the pandemic started, like the Chamber of Commerce or the Department of Commerce was overwhelmed by businesses that just didn't even have websites.
Right.
Which is why Shop Local Rhode Island, you created Shop Local Rhode Island. So like, let's talk about that. Like things first, how would you start if you don't have a budget?
It's a great question. If I could just back up a quick second.
Please do.
The reason we created Visual Thrive, Scott and I, was Scott had Indemar Media and I had LG Coaching. So we were doing work for businesses and getting contracts. And the more businesses that we met, he had this great idea out on a jog one day that there needs to be something that offers businesses kind of a world-class level, because we have a ton of experience in this, at a price that was budgetable or within budget for smaller businesses that were really doing well. But it kind of sets the table for what we're talking about, where you have a business, like we both have businesses, and their marketing budgets are just, a lot of people look at marketing as, you spend the money and it goes out the door. And it's about planting a lot of seeds and using your network. And so how do businesses really understand that? They don't really need to understand it because they have people like us that understand it really well. So I think that if a business is starting to look inside themselves and say, okay, what are we doing next steps here? We're in the middle of a pandemic. We've been shut down. We may or may not have a website. I guess the first thing is, okay, if you're in Rhode Island, you can create a free digital footprint on shoplocalrhodeisland.com, and you can put up your information. You can have your contact information there. You can put your logos. You can put photos of whatever you sell. The site is completely searchable. So if you're looking for a necklace for a friend, right? If you search necklace and there is a business in Shop Local that somewhere in their profile has the word necklace, those businesses will come up and you'll see all the local businesses that sell that. Obviously, there's more businesses in there right now that sell pizza and coffee than there are, but we do have a huge number of businesses in there, and it's searchable by neighborhood and keyword. So there's a freebie for all Rhode Islanders. And I kind of joke because I say to my team, hey, next time I have this great idea for like a big giant project that's free, like tell me to go get a good book and lay on the couch. It's been a lot of work, but we've gotten to meet some amazing businesses.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's obviously the first part is if you don't have any sort of digital footprint, like Shop Local Rhode Island would be the perfect way to start. But there are a lot of free, the social media channels that you and I talk about all the time are free. Now there is the situation where you don't get the results that you want unless you pay for it because they want you to buy ads and all of that stuff. That is true, but the baseline level of starting it is free, and it's free to post on these things, and there are ways to do that well and to take advantage of stuff. But I think that one of the and we talked about like using a coffee shop as an example.
Mm-hmm.
I think that one of the big issues is that as a business owner, you're like, I wanted to sell coffee. I wanted to own a coffee shop. I didn't want to be a marketer for myself.
Right.
Like I
Yeah.
don't know this. I know, like,
Yeah.
I'm a contractor.
Yeah.
I'm not a
You want to
marketer.
run your business.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that is obviously it's more than a full-time job in and of itself to
Mm-hmm.
do that. But there's there's a reason to do it. There's a reason why marketing works,
Yeah.
and to
Yeah.
get the business that you need to grow,
Yeah.
you need to get the word out. And
Yeah. I
so
would invite anybody that hears us at the moment to ask us anything
yeah,
marketing. I mean, I really love the idea of just doing like rapid fire coaching, where you're just talking to businesses about what is the best solution for this particular idea that they have. And that type of brainstorming, I think, is probably one of the smartest things a business can do. Just so inside you have your people, your network, just brainstorm. Like, what do I need to tell my people? More importantly, what are the people out there that I need to come into my shop need to hear from me?
right.
You know?
Yeah. So that's here are some frequently asked questions that I get. Number one is like, what do I post and where do I post it?
Yeah.
So what would you like? Let's take any sort of business, right?
Mhm.
So I run a coffee shop in Newport.
Okay.
What do I post,
Yeah.
and where do I post it? How do I
Well,
get people to find out about my coffee shop in Newport?
one of the things based on our experience is that the numbers show that when business owners post photos of themselves or the people in their businesses, those numbers come up really high. So today, if you're in your coffee shop or in whatever shop you run and you take some photos of one of your employees with a customer, just helping them, and people are smiling, and that it's an open place to be. Those are great photos because it really humanizes the environment of the business. Even if an owner, I'm really bad at taking selfies. So I would say if you're good at taking selfies and you can actually like do it quickly, then I think that is always a great, take a selfie of yourself like at work and have some great stuff behind you, not all this packing gear that I have here. But I think that's always a great thing. I mean, taking good photos of food is not always easy. So you just want to make sure that, you can take the photo and then look at the photo and say, does this look gross, or does this look like, are people going to know what this is? If it's just, you know what I mean? Like you really are looking at that photo and it needs to stand on its own.
Yeah.
So you want it to be a little bit intriguing and enjoyable.
Right. And there are things that you can do. So like if you don't know, if you run a coffee shop slash bakery or a small restaurant and you don't have the budget to get a photographer in there, so you need to take some photos of your food, but you need your food to look good. There are
I,
two things. There are
yeah,
two
you
things
go.
that I need to tell you. Number
Yeah,
one, Google, and number two, YouTube will give you all of the tools that you need for free tutorials on how to edit a photo on your phone. Apps like Instagram, even you can take a photo, put it in Instagram, and edit it there
yeah,
before you post it. Like spending a little bit of time, spending a half hour researching how to change the highlights and lowlights and saturation of your photo to
yeah,
make your food look as good as it looks to you in person
yeah,
is is a that is a half hour well spent. When you
yeah.
don't have the budget, you can,
Mhm.
figure that out.
The other little trick that we do is it's so simple but you just put your flashlight on. If you're with somebody, just create a nice lighting on the food so that you don't have all the shadows or whatever. I mean, that's pretty simple. And when we take photos, I call it the small, medium, large approach in terms of social media. So where you take something that's like pretty close up and you're like, oh, I see that muffin has nuts and berries in it. You can really see what it's made of. And then the medium, so that would be small. And then the medium is kind of like a hand with coffee, and it gets like me and a cup of coffee. And then the wide approach or the large is where you're in the entire space. So if you think about those photos in terms of like getting a view of the space and then getting a view of like what happens in the space and then getting a view of the things you really want to highlight.
Yeah.
uh, that's another quick and easy approach for but I like the lighting on the food thing.
Oh yeah.
I think it's a,
Um
it's a trick. You have to be good at food photography.
you do, but if you're not great at food photography and you
Mm-hmm.
know that that's a I think that, and another thing is like sometimes if you're in a restaurant or you're in a coffee shop, there's probably someone that works in there that does know how to manipulate Instagram
Yeah,
enough or whatever, but you need to know what you're expecting and what you're looking at,
yeah,
like um just just hiring a this is something that I see a lot of is a business owner who will take an employee who's like 19 and just go, you understand social media, go do it for
that is
me.
why I can't tell you how many times we hear that.
And then you
Got
get
it. I got my niece in marketing classes at URI, and she's going to run our social media. And it's great that they're just throwing stuff out there, but it's also really important to understand like what is the vision and strategy behind what you're doing? What are you trying to do in your business?
right. Because if you as the business owner don't know that, then you can't know if they're doing a good job or not.
Right.
And it's totally fine. I mean, if you own a business and if you own a restaurant but you're not a chef, you're going to hire a chef to
Right.
do that. You're going to hire a cook that's good and talented, but you're going to know what you want your food to taste like and be like at your
Yeah.
restaurant. You should have an idea of what you want your social presence to be like.
And I think it probably comes around like that because that's how social media started, right? It was social. And so people were on it and mainly having fun, but then social media has moved into the forefront of like real business marketing. Like if you're not on social media as a business, like you are missing a huge audience. And so that's one of the things that we try to do is get this the difference between being social on social media, which is a blast, and using social media as a marketing tool. Like if you were going to do advertising, usually you would call somebody to say, what is advertising about? Like they usually have someone that's going to shepherd you through that process, or even writing good copy. So I think that's one of the big differences, is people still, like, it's a mindset of how do we move from doing social stuff on, not move from. I love social media. I'm in a lot of coaching groups, and they're all over the world, and I love that. But for the business, it's more than that. It's really getting a sense of like how to do it. So
Absolutely. Ryan said, added my business. Glad I saw this come up this morning. Thanks for your help. Nice.
awesome.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, tell us what kind of business you have.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be
That's
great.
great. Yeah.
So let's take the coffee shop in
Okay.
Newport, right? So
Yeah.
for example, and you just said something that I think is a huge deal, which is you said that you are in a lot of groups on Facebook. Um and if you are a coffee shop in Newport,
Mm-hmm.
the absolute best way to get people to know who you are for free on Facebook is to find all of those Newport, Rhode Island groups. The Newport, Rhode Island, the Jamestown, the Middletown, the Portsmouth, the Aquidneck Island ones, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
um, there will be groups. There's probably like 25 of them that are in Newport, that are all people who are, buy or sell from Newport,
Mm-hmm.
or Newport, the good stuff, or like concerned citizens of Newport, whatever it is. And don't bombard them with everything that you do. But if you are a coffee shop, for example, and say you have entertainment there on the weekend, it might be a fun thing to post a video of that and then send that in. Or if you have your photo of, your employee who's smiling, and that you took, that Lori talked about earlier,
Yeah.
sharing that in those groups, and saying, we just want to say thank you to all of our customers and our staff in the Newport area. We
Right.
really appreciate you, especially during this difficult time. Stuff like that. Like,
Mhm.
that's gonna reach way more people than just
Yeah.
putting it on your social channel and leaving it there.
Well, and I think if you do also focus on location, putting a geotag on your post will be, oh, very cool. Will be good, because that the algorithms will make sure that that gets pushed a little bit further in that geographical area.
Yep.
So yeah, that's great. I missed the comment here. Let's see. Oh, hand stitched leather bags and goods in Providence. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Brian, why don't you let us know if you want to be on the show, because we can interview you about everything you do.
Yeah.
This is
Uh,
like the Ryan O'Keefe show.
Ryan, send an email to Lori at visualthrive.com.
Yeah.
Is that the
Yes.
correct? All
Yep.
right. So anyway, that's wonderful, Ryan. Thank you so much.
But I
Um,
think that, so you're right. Get involved with those groups, do a geotag. Another thing I'm thinking is, if you look at some of the, do a little bit of hashtag research
yep.
on what other local companies, local restaurants, local coffee shops that you love are doing in terms of hashtags, so that when people are researching like Newport coffee, see like what comes up. And if they're searching like Newport, and it's hashtag Newport, and it's just a whole bunch of pictures of bridges, that's maybe not a hashtag that you want to use. You want to be like, attached to Newport, but there might be a better hashtag than that gets people a little bit closer to coming into your shop.
Absolutely. And I think it's really important to know the context of the platform that you're on. because there are different ways to advertise different things, because we're thinking differently when we're on different platforms, right? So if you're in a B2B business, like both Lori and myself are, where our we're selling services, right? In our businesses, we are not selling, for the most part, we are not selling
Mhm.
direct goods to people. So we're not selling direct to consumer, we're selling to other businesses. So therefore, something like LinkedIn would be a fantastic place
Yeah,
to post content like you would on Facebook,
yeah,
and to sort of target the people that you want to reach out to there,
yeah,
specifically. So it depends on what you're doing,
yeah.
but
One of the things I don't like about, I mean, I love LinkedIn for B2B. You have to be there.
yeah,
The thing that really drives me crazy about LinkedIn is if you have a business page on LinkedIn, you can't target on that page into specific industries until you have over 200 followers on that page.
yeah,
So if and it takes a lot of effort in LinkedIn particularly to get those 200 followers. Most people on LinkedIn have a great personal network,
yep,
and I want to say about 2 years ago they really had pushed this idea of business pages, and it's great because you can target, but I personally think that the that level of following is a little too high right now for where LinkedIn is in this like creation of business pages and being able to target.
right,
One of the things I say to customers is we're posting on your business page, but tell the people in your organization to share that in their own networks so that you're at least going from the business page and saying like follow our business and try and expand the reach because it's a
right,
little closed in right now.
yeah. Um, and so it's exactly what I'm saying with that, right? So like if you're gonna post on LinkedIn, and you have a B2B business, you should do some research as to what the ins and outs of LinkedIn and posting on LinkedIn are. Find companies that are similar to yours that you think are doing a good job, and try to figure out what you could do to not emulate or steal what they're doing, but to figure out like what you're going to do would
Yeah.
be very important. People are in a different mindset on LinkedIn than they are on Instagram.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's this idea is perfect. The thinking about like not so that you're recreating somebody else's business, so that you understand where you want your business to sit within that landscape. I have a great story for that. There's I use this story a lot. I may have said it before, but big important corporate law firm makes the decision to let the 19-year-old receptionist do the social media, in which case the social media is fruit baskets, wrapping Christmas presents, happy hour, team building on a boat. So when you look at that, if I use it as an example when I do presentations, I put the Instagram feed and I say, what kind of company is this? And most people will say, oh, it's an event company. But it's a very, very good high end law firm that has multiple offices and does corporate stuff. So I think that when you look at your Instagram feed, be sure that the things that you're putting out really reflect the work that you do. Because as hard as like that service type business is, it's still important to be able to show what's happening in the office and see the people that are in there. I think that if someone had a big need for a corporate lawyer, they would choose another firm over. I mean, maybe not, but maybe not based on an Instagram, but
Well,
it's still
I
important.
actually think that they would. So this is my theory on lawyers, and it's also my theory on like car dealerships.
Mm-hmm.
Is if you are a lawyer and you have and you're looking for, you know, new business in this realm, then going on and explaining some very simple things in video form, in blog form, whichever medium works best for you, but to go on and to give some free advice in general to people about things that you deal with every day that would be Googleable, but people don't, and they would be looking online instead in different places for, if you're an elder care law attorney, making a 3-minute video about how to apply for Medicare
My
is
God,
would be massive. And if you're an elder care law attorney in Newport
right.
and you make that video and then you share it to all of those groups and use the hashtags and geolocating, like
Yeah.
Lori said, then that is what you've just done. Now is you've put out a lot of goodwill for everybody around you, because you are giving them the advice that they need. And now they might have seen that because their mom is turning 65 and they're thinking about it. But in a year from now, who are they going to remember, right? They're going to remember you. They're going to be able to see that you're the person that gives advice and is there for everybody.
Yeah.
Same thing with a car dealership. If
Mm.
you're out there showing people how to not get a lemon, if
Yeah.
you're out there showing people, like, this is our inventory, this is how we do it, like, you know what I mean, like the behind the scenes stuff that Lori started all of this with. If
Yeah.
you're doing that, then um and putting it out on those local channels, then without any advertising budget whatsoever, you know,
Right.
phone, tripod, and if you're a big law firm, you can afford more than this, but phone and tripod, you
Yeah.
know,
And
talk
see,
about your service,
and
you're
you
going to
don't
get
need
business
anything
that way.
special. You guys
Yeah.
thought I had special lighting. I have two windows right here. You don't need like a lot of, especially with the new iPhones. Like holy moly, they are amazing. And you can even look up, like people are doing like full on videos with iPhone and beautiful stuff.
Mhm.
Scott just went to, I don't know if you follow him. He
I
went
saw a bunch of it, yeah.
the Airstream. So we have a client in Kansas and they do ag tech work. And so this is harvest season. So he went to do a whole bunch of video interviews. But thinking about the Airstream, there's a guy in New Jersey that puts videos up and he talks about very like specific pieces of the Airstream and why he likes it and the construction and the quality. And it's not it's just a very basic, awesome video. He's not like, oh, hey, come on down to Airstream and we're gonna do, it's just he's just talking but he knows everything. And so of course, when we think about buying an Airstream, we're going there. We're going to New Jersey. We want that guy. And that's what happens. That's the planting the seed of the whole marketing cycle.
Yep.
Have to keep planting seeds. They come back a year, 2 years, 5 years. Like you never really know how it comes around. But if you keep sharing your brilliance, it will shine back on you.
When I for many years went to the radio station to talk about my theater company or events that I was doing, and the and while I was there was a lot of conversations about their biggest advertiser, who was Central Auto Group in Plainfield, Connecticut. And when I needed to buy a car, I went to Central Auto Group. And when my dad needed to buy a car, I took him to Central Auto Group.
Yeah.
And when I needed to buy a new car 5 years later, I went back to Central Auto Group.
Wow.
And that was all because, well, first of all, like they were able to deliver on what they, talked about, but it was all because I knew I had a little bit of a feeling. I didn't know anyone there, but because I knew the owner of the radio station, I felt like I had a personal connection
Yeah.
to the business. And if I had no idea, not everybody's going to go to a radio station for years or whatever, but um if you have that and you are, posting about why we do our crazy deals every month.
Right.
Like pull back the curtain a little bit.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks if you're a lawyer or a car dealer that you're shady.
Yeah.
So expose what really is going
Yeah.
on,
Yep.
and you're going to bring more people in, and then you're going to have that goodwill so that when my son turns 16 in 2 years, I'm going to remember that Barber Chevrolet
Yeah.
is a good guy, and I'm going to take my kid there.
Yeah. I
So
love that. No, that's true. Wow. I was like, wow, we did a half an hour. So all right. So how do we wrap up today?
well, I want to point out to everybody that there are free. So for social media like Google and YouTube, this stuff, it's very simple. There are apps that you can use for creation, for stuff like what you see around us today, for infographics. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a learning curve, obviously, but you can use things like, if you don't have Photoshop and you're not a graphic designer, you can learn how to do this stuff on free or next to free apps like
Or you can
Canva
buy our
or
pack.
SparkPost. But there's also a wonderful thing. There's still the photography, right? You want great
Yeah.
photography on top of that.
Yeah.
And Scott, Lori's partner, and Lori have put together a wonderful DIY package on visualthrive.com that you can get for, is it like under $30?
Yeah, it is. So we have $29.99 for the setup where you can write and put in your own quotes or whatever you want. And then $39.99 for that already completed for you. And
Oh,
so,
nice.
but that's it. I mean, it's under $40 and you get a package of 30 posts. And there's a little video there. You can get a sense of what they all look like. We're in the process of doing one that's for like offices. We're doing one that's for restaurants. This one is all original nature photography, but Scott is an award-winning, global photographer and has been doing it for 30 years. And the photography is beautiful and it's not stock, it's all original. And that is what we base our whole business on.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Lori. And like I said, everybody, just like Ryan did, check out shop local shoplocalrhodeisland.com and put your name up there so that people can find you, and contact Lori at visualthrive.com. If you have a business, or you know somebody that has a business, contact us. Let's get them on the show. We want to help promote local businesses in Rhode Island, especially during this time. And if you do need help with any marketing questions, you can contact either of us.
Yeah,
So
great.
thank you, Lori.
Yeah, it's great to see you. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye, guys.